Okay, we have a Fox News alert. Messages of support are rolling in from around the country after former President Biden announced he's been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Our senior White House correspondent, Peter Doocy, is here with the latest. Peter?
Good morning. And the first ever email we received from a newly formed Biden personal office was about this cancer diagnosis. Part of their note said he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9 with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. President Trump's reaction to that: Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, says Jeanette and I are united in prayer for the Biden family during this difficult time. Kamala Harris says Joe is a fighter, and I know he will face this challenge with the same strength, resilience, and optimism that have always defined his life and leadership. We are hopeful for a fast and speedy recovery. And then Barack Obama says nobody's done more to find breakthrough treatments for cancer in all its forms than Joe. I'm certain he will fight this challenge with his trademark resolve and grace. There was, of course, a ton of focus on President Biden's health while he was in office, but most of it focused on cognitive abilities and whether or not the Parkinson's specialist who kept getting cleared into the White House was treating the president. There were a lot fewer questions about cancer screenings, especially after July 21st of last year when he said he was not going to seek a second term. Friday, we all heard that Robert Hur audio come out, and the Biden office was quiet about it. Now we know Friday is also the day they got news from the doctor about this diagnosis. Back to you.
All right, well, our thoughts and prayers are with his family. We definitely don't wish this on anyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, let's bring in Fox News senior medical analyst, Dr. Mark Siegel, to respond to this. Dr. Siegel, we got word about this yesterday. Your reaction to how advanced it seems.
Really, really surprising that it's this advanced at the time of diagnosis. Now, you can miss prostate cancer, but most of the time regular screening picks it up. A sitting president, I would expect to have advanced screening. Should not be subject to debate what kind of screening. You do a PSA for sure every year on a president.
Would a PSA test have picked that up?
Not all the time, but there's other tests that we do that are several different kinds of tests you can do in addition to the PSA. But the PSA would pick it up the majority of the time. If he's diagnosed by somebody feeling a nodule, that's not these days the way we do it most of the time. Also, most of the time prostate cancer is diagnosed without symptoms. It has to get really pretty far advanced usually before you could have urinary symptoms leading towards urinary retention. Thank God they found it. He's a fighter. He's been through a tremendous amount in his life, non-politically we're talking, with his son, with his wife, with his daughter.
Two aneurysms.
Two aneurysms, atrial fibrillation. He's been through a lot health-wise, but I am absolutely shocked that they didn't find this earlier. And
Dr. Siegel, now that we know it's metastasized, it's in his bone, how long has this cancer been in his body?
Well, it's aggressive, Ainsley, which means that it's moving pretty fast. But I can't tell you for sure, but he didn't just get this overnight. He's had this for months and months. Even if it is aggressive, it's a Gleason 9, which means under the microscope, group 5, under the microscope, it's quite aggressive. They find that it's responsive to anti-testosterone type therapy. We have that. We have it in oral form now. We have it in an injectable form. So he will probably get that treatment. He should get personalized treatment, too. There's a lot of debate about whether you should do surgery, whether you should do radiation, what you should do to that bone metastasis. The fact that there's only one is better than if there was more than that. That's good. He has to be monitored very, very closely. Again, he needs a personalized approach.
So what do you do about the spreading to the bone?
Well, usually you would just give the anti-hormone therapy, hope it shrinks. Maybe you would radiate that lesion to the bone. We now have the most focused radiation. Over the last 5 years, the entire treatment for prostate cancer has changed. But still, his 5-year survival rate might be under 50%, even with all of that. But the key here, Charlie, is early response. Will he have early response? They're going to see the first 6 months how he does with this initial therapy. But again, I can't emphasize enough two things. Personalized approach. I might say hormone therapy. They might be saying hormone therapy, but with a former president, they might do a smattering of things. And two, early diagnosis is key. For everyone out there Every male out there over the age of 45, get your prostate checked. And I personally don't say a certain age is too old. I say keep going.
Would you, what's the prognosis here? Is he going to have to do chemo? You mentioned radiation, have the prostate removed. What would you recommend if this were your relative?
Well, I would recommend all of those options being on the table. Right now, these days, we do a team approach. Radiation oncology is really strong, by the way, at NYU. That's a huge possible approach. The hormone therapy, because again, if it's dependent on testosterone, you can block testosterone production in the body. That's a big part of the approach. A lot of surgeons would take out this prostate. You can do it robotically now, you know, like literally with a tiny incision and almost no blood loss. Dr. Tiwari over at Mount Sinai, one of the best in the country, the father-in-law of Vivek Ramaswamy, one of the best in the country. We have great prostate surgeons at NYU around the country that could take this out, maybe as part of the treatment.
Right.
Like hormone therapy for sure.
Do you think they should be public what his treatment is?
I think they should be public at exactly when this was diagnosed. Brian, we were talking last week about when were the cognitive issues diagnosed. I want to know when this was found exactly.
We know how many visits Dr. Connors made to the White House over and over again, correct?
I want to know why. I want to know exactly when this was found. I'm believing them it was just found, but then it's found advanced. You know, I have to believe them, but I want full disclosure here, and I would like the treatment. Because, look, this isn't England where they don't tell us even what type of cancer the person has. We want to use this for teaching, to teach people out there what they should do. They're looking at the former leader of the free world. President Trump was really kind about saying he's saddened, Melania's saddened, we're all saddened, but now we need to learn from it so that we can use it to teach our own patients.
Is he in any pain?
Well, he's going to be in pain from that bone lesion. That's why they got to shrink that as soon as possible. They're going to have to use pain meds. They want to probably radiate that. They got to get that shrunk down to decrease the pain.
All right, Dr. Siegel, we'll talk to you again. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.